In case you haven't noticed, I'm a little different today. I have this. And I'm just going to say what happened because that's all I ever hear is what happened to your foot. But you're going to have to choose which one is the real story. A, I was attempting a 2.5 spin at Cascade Mountain while snowboarding. I came down wrong on the lift and I broke my foot or tore a tendon. The middle schoolers love that one. That's what they picked. 2, I was in a karate tournament, and while attempting to sweep the leg of my opponent, I came down again wrong and broke my foot. The kids are going, which one is it? The high schoolers like that one. So you're looking like you want a third. That's kind of discouraging, but okay. Here's the other scenario. There was, and I kid you not, a devotional book laying on the floor at my house. And I stepped on it wrong and heard a horrible noise, and we are waiting to see what happened here. I'm concerned because I'm going to Belize in 3.5 weeks with our mission group, and I don't want to go through airport security with this, especially the airport security in Belize, and I don't want to walk through 95-degree heat the whole week. So I'm kind of wondering what it is. I am fortunate that I will have an MRI on Thursday night at 7 o'clock, so that will be decisive on what's happening. So there's the story. You pick which one. You'll get a big God bless you if you pick 1 or 2, though. I'll tell you that. St. Ignatius discovered how helpful that the imagination can be in developing a deeper relationship with God. He called it imaginative prayer, and it's regarded as one of the hallmarks of Ignatian spirituality. St. Ignatius was convinced that God can speak to us through our imagination as he can through our thoughts. The technique is especially suited to the Gospels as we read a particular story about Jesus. Kevin O'Brien, a Jesuit, states it this way. He says, as you read the Gospel story, visualize the event as if you were making a movie. Pay attention to the details, the sights, the sounds, the tastes, the smells, and the feelings of the event. Lose yourself in the story, and don't worry if your imagination is running too wild. But at some point, place yourself in the scene. And we are going to try to do that right now. I'm going to say it, I'm going to be honest, at the 4 o'clock when I started this, it is strange, but they nailed it. I was really impressed. And then the 7:30 did it again, so I'm convinced that the 9 o'clock will continue that going. So while your eyes are closed, I will read a brief reflection on the man born blind from today's gospel. And it might feel a little awkward and even weird, but if you honestly give it a try, I believe you will have a better grasp of this absolutely incredible story we just heard. So if you're ready, close your eyes and keep them closed until I tell you. Get yourself in a comfortable position, and don't worry what you look like. If everyone is closing their eyes like they should be, no one will see you anyway. So start by breathing in and breathing out. Listen and feel your breath going in and out of your lungs. If you're really still and quiet, you might even hear your own heartbeat. Now I'll read the blind man's story. Picture yourself as the blind man, or even the blind woman. It's your imagination. Go where it takes you. You have been blind your entire life. You have no idea what your parents look like, or for that matter, what anyone looks like. Although you can feel the sunlight on your skin, you can only imagine what the sun even is. You have never seen the stars, or the moon, or the sky. You have heard stories about the ocean, lakes, rivers, trees and flowers, buildings and animals, but you have absolutely no idea what they might look like. In fact, you have no idea what anything in the world looks like. All you see is blackness, and in your world, it's always night. One day, you hear a bunch of men talking. They're discussing something, and then you realize that that something is you. You hear a man say, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" You're used to comments such as these, for you are an outcast and looked down on by most people. And to be honest, you have wondered the same thing. Is this blindness somehow your fault? Or have your parents committed such grave sins that God is punishing them through you? But then you hear someone say, "Neither he nor his parents sinned." And then the most amazing thing happens. You feel wet clay being put on both of your eyes. You want to push whoever is doing this away, but for some reason you don't. Whoever it is that put the wet clay on your eyes then tells you, "Go wash your eyes in the pool of Siloam. It's some distance away." Again, for some reason you don't understand, you do exactly that, and you find someone to lead you. When you get there, you splash the cold water onto your face, and for the first time in your entire life, you can see. You see what water looks like, and you see the sunlight for the first time in your life, dancing on the shimmering water. But even more amazing, you see in the water a reflection of your own face. What thoughts are going through your mind? As you hurry back to the place where you used to beg, your senses are overwhelmed with all the sights you now see. Buildings, trees, people, vendors in the town square, children playing in the street. So many things to see, but the one thing you really want to see is the person who restored your sight. But that person is no longer there. He didn't even wait for you to return and thank him. He is long gone. You may open your eyes now. What happens next is even more strange. A miracle performed by Jesus that should have shown that he was not only the long-awaited Messiah, but the Son of God as well, turns into a huge divisive issue. It triggers an investigation by the religious leaders who face a dilemma that pits one religious leader against another. For how could someone who disregarded the Sabbath rules restore the sight of a man born blind, something that had never, ever been done before? And as they continue debating the scene, as they continue to misread what just happened, they slowly become blind themselves. In their blindness, they disregard the miracle that had just happened. In their blindness, they tell the man once blind, who is desperately trying to explain how Jesus must be from God, that he is an uneducated fool who was born totally in sin, and thus physically throw him out of the temple. Blind to the fact that the Son of God was right in their midst, but their lack of faith doesn't allow them to see him. Jesus hears what had happened to the man and returns once again. He has given the man the gift of sight, and now he offers him the gift of everlasting life. He finds the man and asks him, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" To which the man answers, "Who is he, sir, that I might believe in him?" And Jesus answers back, "You have seen him, and the one speaking with you is he." The man falls to the ground before Jesus and says, "I do believe." Physical blindness continues to this day in our world. There are over 40 million people who live each day without being able to see. We need to do everything possible to assist them in whatever way we can, through research, medical assistance, support, and our prayers. As we continue to find better ways of treatment, we hope that the numbers in the world who suffer from blindness will decrease. Spiritual blindness, on the other hand, is quite another story. So many people in our world today suffer from spiritual blindness. And that blindness is a cause for most of our problems in this world. Blindness in the way we treat others who are, quote, different than us, by the color of their skin, economic status, sexual orientation, or even what particular political party they belong to. Our recent bout with the pandemic that instead of uniting us, has divided us even further. Spiritual blindness is the cause of hatred, racism, sexism, violence, and war in our families, in our communities, in our country, and in our world. It affects absolutely everything we do. When asked which is the greatest commandment of the law, Jesus answered, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind." This is the first and greatest commandment. And second is like it. Jesus says, "Love your neighbor as yourself." All of the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. Those two commandments offer us the antidote to our own spiritual blindness. It offers us the ability, like the man born blind in today's gospel, to not only see physically, but more importantly, to see spiritually.